Rightio. So over the years I've become very interested in psychology, and especially the way it makes humans tick, and more specifically how it makes me tick. And I've come across a few interesting examples that have really changed my outlook on life and the way I receive and handle information. And this is one I'd like to share with you. It is called the Dunning-Kruger Effect. So what is the Dunning-Kruger Effect, you may ask? Well, it is a cognitive bias in which someone with a low ability to perform a task overestimates their ability to perform it. It is a cognitive bias related to illusory superiority and comes from the inability of people to recognize their own lack of ability. So that's some big words, very pretty. What does that mean? Basically, in layman's terms, and as far as I'm concerned, the worst way you could probably say it, but the easiest way to understand is it's when people are too stupid to realise they're stupid. I don't like the way, I don't like that, but it works. Okay, so to give you a bit of background, basically, Josh Dunning and Steve Kruger come up with this in 1998. After seeing a case study about a bank robber who went into a bank, smiled at the cameras, went up to the teller, robbed it, and no mask at all, and got caught. And he was genuinely surprised when he got caught. The reason for this was he had painted his face with invisible ink, and assumed that for whatever reason the cameras wouldn't be able to see him. It's invisible ink. So he was too stupid to realise he didn't know what the hell he was doing with one of the most simpler things, invisible ink. After this case study, they came up with a theory and did a few studies on it, and they called it the Dunning-Kruger Effect. And after the studies were finished, they made this here chart. So on the left here you have confidence, and top is high. As you come up there it's high, as you go down here it's low. Down the bottom we have competence. We start from knowing nothing all the way up to I'm a guru, I know what I'm talking about. As you can see there's a bit of a squiggle here. You'd think that based on knowing nothing, your confidence should be pretty low, and it should be a pretty linear climb to the top. But according to the studies and the hypothesis, it is often not the case. Now, using the bank robber as an example, probably a terrible example, but his confidence was pretty high when he painted his face with this invisible ink. But his knowledge on the subject of invisible ink, very low. So he ended up here. Another example could be basically someone on their first day of the job. They flew through the interview, seemed to answer all the questions the right way, and think, oh yeah, this industry looks pretty easy, I mean, nothing to it. High confidence, although they know nothing. And then within a couple of days they start to realise, boop, actually I don't know anything, and my confidence is going down as I figure that out. And again, after a few years, months, weeks, depending on the complexity of the job, boom, end up here. Back up to guru, high confidence, that's where you want to be. So another good example would be is, I'm interested in theology, so I've been in a lot of discussions with religious people about their beliefs and all kinds of things relating to that. And one of the interesting questions that always seem to pop up, and it's related to evolution, is if we evolved from monkeys, why are there still monkeys? That's you. That's you up there if you ask that question. I don't mean it in a harsh way or a bad, hateful way. But your confidence is very high, but your knowledge on the subject of evolution is pretty low if you're asking a question like that. There's more than enough of an answer in there if you actually knew what you were talking about. Another good example at the moment, we've got a bunch of virologists and microbiologists all turned up out of the woodwork to tell us how viruses work after watching a few YouTube videos and that sort of thing. Up here. It's a very complex issue. It is a very, very hard subject. It's going to be a while before you're here. If you think after a few YouTube videos you understand viruses, no. Dunning-Kruger, right here, that's you. including myself. I'm pretty sure I've said the same thing about, especially the older ones, the SARS and the swine flu and all that kind of thing. I was definitely almost the expert. So for a really good example of the Dunning-Kruger effect in work, that was a little bit staged. I will say this video. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a psychologist. I don't know anything about psychology. I'll watch a bunch of YouTube videos, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I've been in some discussions on Facebook posts, yeah. Hell yeah, but I know nothing. I'm up here. So basically, yeah, that's what the Dunning-Kruger effect can look like. An absolute layman can easily come off as an expert, especially if they know just a little tiny bit more about it than you. Also, I'll mention at the start, I got the names wrong, I got the dates wrong. I would not take any of this, or even my examples, as how Dunning-Kruger works, and you shouldn't. You should not be listening to someone like me talk about something like this. So definitely look into it. It is a very interesting phenomenon. Also look into all the other cognitive biases that exist as well. That is basically the real reason for this video. I just wanted to show what it can look like when someone doesn't know what they're talking about, does it with complete confidence. It can easily sound like this. You can be boom, but you actually sound like you're boom. No, it's not like that. I could have certainly made this look a little bit better, you know, green screen myself into an office or some sort of nice suit, biz cash fry type thing. And yeah, you wouldn't know that, unless you actually know me, you wouldn't know that I am not an expert at what I'm talking about. In fact, I know very little. I'm right down the bottom. I have no idea what I'm talking about. So yeah, you really need to be careful. The prevalence of YouTube and Facebook, there is some people masquerading as experts out there that really are causing a lot of issues and damage. You need to be very careful and start looking for the experts, people that actually know what they're talking about, especially right now with all kinds of crazy stuff going on. Everyone's putting in their 2 cents. We all have the ability to make videos and write blogs and you know, comment on Facebook posts as if we are some form of authority when we're not. And this is something you need to look out for. So be more careful, and also, second part, recognize when you are here. Again, a lot of people are weighing in their opinions on all these complex issues as if they know what they're talking about. Yeah, you work at a shoe factory, like you are not a politician, you are not a virologist, you are not this, that, or the other. You should really calm down and understand that maybe you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. But the likelihood, more like that. Bang, bang, bang. Probably yeah. So in conclusion, just be very careful. Try to recognize when you're here. Try and recognize when other people are here. It can be very important. And again, also try and figure out when people are here. You want to know that when you're listening to someone talk on a very complex issue, that maybe they actually know what they're talking about. There's a lot of personalities on YouTube that just rattle off shit, a lot of big words, a lot of scientific words, but don't actually know how they work in the real world, because they are here. They think they are smart. They think they are, but they're not. So yeah, be careful out there, and good luck.